Lillian McDermott.
And here we go. We are going to fasten our seatbelts
The
today.
Lillian McDermott Show.
Learn and grow together.
We love, we feel.
Time to dance, Dr. C.
Bridges we burn, we make mistakes, then we live and learn. When life gets tough, and it seems like your best ain't good enough. If you're in need of hope, you know where I'll be. I'll be right here. Right here, and when you need a friend, you can count on me. I'll be right here, waiting for you.
This is the place you can always turn to when you need a friend. The Lillian McDermott Show. To reach out to Lillian, visit her on the web at whenyouneedafriend.com. Now let's all learn together. Here's Lillian McDermott.
Hello, my listening friend. It's so nice we can meet each other on the air on this beautiful best day ever. And for those of you who are new to the Lillian McDermott radio show, the purpose of the show is to provide a safe place where you can go to when you need a friend. It is my commitment to provide alternative ways to heal, and it is my mission to make awareness, responsibility, and truth a part of our everyday life. And I hope you, my listening friend, will feel empowered to live the life of your dreams. Now, yesterday I said to all of you, fasten your seatbelt, because we are going to learn a new truth about terminally ill patients that were given cancer diagnosis that were pretty bleak, that you were like not going to survive this. And this is what the belief of your doctor was. And I said to you, fire that doctor. Fire that doctor if they're not aligned with your intention. If you want to live, then it's time to celebrate that life and choose the doctor that will align their intention with you. Many doctors will tell you chemotherapy, radiation, and surgery are the only way. As a matter of fact, that's the only way that it is approved, that you can go through your approved methods for doctors to treat you conventionally. But there's another way. We heard stories of stage 4 cancer yesterday that are thriving 20, 30 years later after given 3 days to live or 3 weeks to live. Again, there is hope. You can keep this hope alive. And I have aligned myself, the show, and everybody that comes around me. I want that positive intention. How important, because we all emit this energy. We all emit all this stuff that we don't even know that we're receiving. Well, there's another doctor that has been on my show 3 times the charm. This is the 3rd time she's been on, and hopefully we'll continue having her on the show, because we need to hear from all these doctors that have stepped out of the box that you can heal your body. You can return to what God gave you even before your body was diseased. But how can you do that if everybody's telling you that the only way to treat cancer or disease is by cutting, burning, doing all whatever it is that you need to do? And maybe some of you have chosen that route and it's been successful. And I'm so excited that that is true for you. But there's another way, and I want to embrace a new truth. I'm going to ask you to embrace a new truth with Dr. Leigh Erin Connealy, who is a champion for people that want to also live and will stop at nothing, that will continue to doing what they need to do. Dr. Connealy is the medical director at the Center for New Medicine. And I know that there's other names for it, but you can find her at ConnealyMD.com. And since it is our sole purpose in life to give and receive love and knowledge, I am grateful that Dr. Connealy, Dr. Leigh Erin Connealy, is here to do just that. Welcome back, Dr. Connealy, to the Lillian McDermott Radio Show.
Hi, Lillian. Great to see you again.
I am grateful that you're here. Today, we're going to continue our conversation that started yesterday with another person who believes that we can heal our bodies. Share a little bit about your background and what brought you to this truth.
Right. That's a good question. Well, I'm a medical doctor, and I clarified that because I'm not a person who's just studied on my own, and I went to school. I went to school, college. I went to medical school training, and now I've had the privilege of working 31 years, 42,000 patients, I think now from the beginning, and that's probably not. It's probably more because I don't know if we started counting at the very beginning. So, because that was a long time ago. And that was in the olden days, Lillian. Anyway, we didn't have computers. We had ledger cards. So anyway, and I learned in medical school anatomy, physiology, pharmacology, all those great things. And I am so thankful for that knowledge.
Sure.
Because I would not be able to do and understand and comprehend and deliver and execute to a patient if I didn't really understand all the foundation of our matrix of the body. And so with that, though, patients always want to make sure that, like, if you're going to go to a CPA, okay, because he's going to do your taxes, he's going to do your numbers. You want him to really, really, really know. You may have a friend, oh, I've got this all figured out and I'll do it for you. But you really, really want someone who's really a master at that.
Sure.
So I have learned day by day, class by class, patient by patient, experience by experience, what I know today. And fortunately, unfortunately, I've had my own health challenges. And unfortunately, that awakens you beyond anything, okay? And it awakens you because struggle creates relevance. So if you don't have a problem, then you don't really think about it. And so, these things have become high priority for me because I've been a real patient since very early on.
Very good. And for those of you who are ready to learn a new truth, it is time to fasten on your seatbelt because we're going to learn and grow with Dr. C on the Lillian McDermott Radio Show when we return worldwide at whenyounneedafriend.com. We'll be right here waiting for you.
I'll be right.
Change. It's very quiet here.
Okay. So we got a few minutes or a little bit of time here. I want to talk about this truth that you discovered. Being medically trained, you were taught a certain way. And when you started learning, maybe there's another way, did that kind of shock your system? Did you have pressure from other people, other doctors, other believers that the conventional treatments are the only way? Did you have a lot of pressure to comply?
Okay.
Did you?
Are we going to do?
Yeah, we're recording.
No. Actually, fortunately, Lillian, I started out conventionally, and I had a track record of seeing patients 7 days a week in the hospital. So all the doctors knew me in the community or in the area that I am, and I live in a large community, Orange County, California. So they saw that I was a regular doctor 7 days a week taking care of very, very sick patients. So they knew I knew how to take care of patients conventionally. Mm-hmm. So then in my office, though, I treated patients more proactively, preventatively, personalized, right? Mm-hmm. But I was on a team. I was on a team with the interventional surgeon who treated emphysema patients with a new cutting edge way with laser.
Wow.
And so because of that, I was their primary care doctor in the hospital. So when you have patients like that, who have very serious COPD, emphysema, and they're on oxygen and they've got other medical problems, you've got to use the emergency treatments we have available today, which United States is phenomenal at. And so because of that, people know me that I'm good at that too.
Yeah.
And then when I branched out, which was early on because it was something that I grew up in. I grew up with Adele Davis. My mom was an Adele. I don't know if you know Adele Davis.
No.
Do you know Adele Davis? No. Okay, well, you should look her up.
Yes. Adele
Davis, Davis. Adele Davis was a very famous nutritionist in her time that my mom read about and talked about all the time. So I ate bone marrow. My brothers and sisters, we fought over bone marrow, okay? We had pig's feet. We made liver pate at the table. My mom had a meat grinder at the table. We ate at home all the time. We never ate at a fast food place. So I grew up like that. So fortunately, I grew up like that hearing things natural that was not like strange or weird or something like that, because my childhood was probably really strange.
Yeah.
People ate cereal. People ate cereal and bologna sandwiches with mayonnaise, with whip, the sugary crap. Yeah.
When you need a friend, you can count on me. I'll be right here waiting for you.
You can text Lillian McDermott or leave her a voicemail at 407-373-5959. Once again, here's Lillian.
Well, welcome back to the Lillian McDermott Radio Show, where we always learn and grow with one another. I'm your host, Lillian McDermott, and it is my goal that we learn from each other each day, go through life with childlike wonder. And today's teacher is Dr. Leigh Erin Connealy. She is the medical director at a new I'm sorry.
Center for New Medicine.
Center for New Medicine. I got the new before the center. Okay. Right. So here we go. Today, what we want to talk about, because you've given us lots of hope in the past when you come on, but we're going to talk about actual patients that have come on who have healed their bodies through your protocols, through learning the patient individually what they needed, and you helped them with that. Filling that part of their body that was deficient. As I say, no one's chemotherapy deficient, but you figure out what their deficiencies are and you help them heal. Let's talk about, and this is something that people sometimes refuse to believe, and I heard you give a talk about the importance of positive thoughts, the importance of healing some of the trauma in our background that we don't even know that we need to forgive or heal. Share a little bit about what you've learned in treating your 42,000 patients that you've been with.
Well, that's a great question, and there's a lot to that, because when I first started practicing, I didn't know how the emotions, I didn't really know anything about emotions. You just, live life, and you didn't, yes, you have feelings, but you didn't really even talk about things, okay? But now everything that we read is about the mind and the emotions which intertwine each other. And I did not, when I first had my practice, I did not really talk to people at all about how they felt, how they're stressed, what their days were going like, what kind of stress they had in the past, etc. But then as time goes on, you become people's counselors when you are a doctor, because patients feel very comfortable going to confession with you about their life because they trust you and they just need someone to talk to, very much like today. In fact, today it's significantly worse because we have so much social isolation and nobody wants to lend a helping hand. And it's kind of interesting. Your show is all about, do you need a friend to talk to? Mm-hmm. Yes, we all do, 24/7. We always want to just run by something. We might just want someone to just say a prayer with us. We just might someone to listen to us. And so what I've learned now at the age of 60 and all these years later, and actually learning to many other people talk, taking lots of courses, that our emotions, which is a compilation now, they say in the Bible, it says your emotional DNA goes back 4 generations. But now what they say, they have proven scientifically with earthworms, 9 generations. So we not only inherit the color of our hair, our eyes, our skin, and our morphology of our body, but we're inheriting the emotional DNA. And if we could truly start working on that early on, literally early on as a child, if we could teach parents, mothers, how to teach their children to meditate. If we could teach our children to just, that we only say positive things to our kids, not to say, oh, you're the most beautiful baby ever lived on the planet, because that's unrealistic and that creates another problem. But just to know that that baby is loved and nurtured. But we all have a job to do when we're living, and that is self-mastery. And self-mastery is all levels, mental, emotional, spiritual, physical, etc. And so as a result, that is a process. And I tell people, health is a process and health is a skill. But you must work with a practitioner who really understands all of that. They just don't perfunctorily, you fill out forms, check your vital signs, take a quick 3-minute history. Okay, here's your pill for your hormones, your blood pressure and everything. No, the first and foremost thing, we need to connect heart to heart. Because my job is to help them. Now, I may not be their emotional expert, okay? Yeah. But I can help them find their way. And a lot of people just need someone, just one person to talk to open that passage. And I will tell you that every single cancer patient I see, I talk to them because they're always concerned, numero uno, about the cancer. Cancer, how are we going to kill the cancer? How are we going to get rid of the cancer? How are we going to prevent the cancer to come back? So they're just obsessed about that. So at the end of the visit, usually if I have enough time, I say to the patient, so tell me about your stress in your life. And then usually they will start crying, or they will get very, very emotional, and they talk about they're taking care of a parent, something traumatic happened to them, or many things traumatic happened to them. And of course, we don't want to dump our stuff on someone else. So we just kind of keep it to ourselves and muscle through it, because that's what you're supposed to do. And then someone told me yesterday she was quivering, and I looked at her blood test and her adrenal glands. She was 52. She didn't come to me for cancer at all, Lillian. She just came to me to get healthy, and her hormones, she was having hot flashes. So she came to me and talked to me. And then the second visit, I noticed her adrenal glands were really in the tank. And I said, so tell me, have you had a lot of stress? And she immediately started getting very emotional and quivering and talking to me about her work situation. She goes, I never get anything done. And I said, oh, you're just like everyone else. I said, do you think I get everything done? I said, if you saw my office, my list, my phone with all the reminders I have for me to look up something, I said, that means you're going to be living a long time because you have a lot of things to do. So life is a lot of times how you look at it. Yeah. But then she went on to tell me, she goes, Dr. Connealy, how do you evaluate heart disease? And I said, the best way is to do these testing, and you will know black and white, it's very inexpensive. And she goes, and I said, well, tell me why you're concerned about heart disease. And so, because if a patient's concerned, that means it's probably a high priority. So she says, oh, well, my husband at 45 years of age had chest pain and immediately had to go get a stent. Well, not only did he have to go get a stent, his heart failed and he had to go to get a pacemaker at 45 years of age. Mm-hmm. So she's still dealing with that, even though she's dealt with it, she hasn't, right? So all these things come into play, and we just need someone to say, okay, you know what? I think all this is going to work out and we are going to move forward.
I have great information here. Okay. So when you just said something, and I want to go back and I want to kind of zoom in on that. You talked about when people come to you that have disease, whether it's cancer or they're looking at their hormones or they're focused on the disease. They're focused on the problem or the symptom. And so if you focus, and I just want to highlight this and share this with my listeners, my viewers, that when you focus on the disease, you get more disease. But if you
Correct.
focus on the solution, which is what we're going to talk about today, the solutions to this, then you get the healing, you get the changes. So part of what I'm hearing you say, which we talk about here on the show all the time, is that the emotional component, and you mentioned 4 generations, and if I'm so glad that I'm not an earthworm, because I only have to go back 4 generations instead of 9 generations. So something to be grateful for today. But if I look at my DNA and my ancestral DNA that has been passed through me,
Right.
that maybe I do not understand. I just wanted to like zoom in this, and I do not understand why I'm fearful of whatever. Nothing really affected me there. This is hypothetical for me because I like to dive in. I call it my soul shovel.
Right.
It's my soul shovel. I dig until there's only truth. But many of us are afraid to dig. And as a result, we just focus on the symptom again. So if it is possible, and it's called generational, if you want to be a generational pattern shifter, which we've done
Right.
shows on here as well, if you want to be a generational pattern shifter, then that's where you just absolutely embrace a new truth about what you need. And that, for many people, just that shift alone, because let's say it's the importance of eating and nutrition, that's so important. But let's talk about attitude. When somebody changes their attitude, can that transform their health too?
Right. Well, it's so funny you say that. So I was watching a movie called Hector in the Search for Happiness. And I highly recommend it. I never watch movies. I never go to the movies, and I never watch movies. So
Who has the time? Who has the time, right?
So I come home on Sunday this week, and I immediately, my husband says, "Honey, you've got to watch this movie." And my husband is a shoot 'em up, gang, let's, whatever, warlike movies, all that kind of stuff. So he goes, "You got to watch the end of this movie." I'm like, "The end? What about the beginning?" So he says, "No, just sit down. So I watch the movie, then he restarts the movie. And it's about a psychiatrist who is listening to people complain all day and talk about all their stress all the time. And he feels like he is not making any progress whatsoever in his treatment. And so anyway, so he tells his girlfriend, "Look, I need to go around the world and figure out how we make happiness." So anyway, he goes to all over the world, in India and China and Tibet, et cetera, and he has all these experiences of how happiness can happen in our life, because it's all, again, how you looked at it. He was attacked in Africa, for example, and he was, literally going to be shot up. They tied him up, beat him up, abused him, and everything like that. And then they let him go. And he is running down the street, and he's like, I'm happy. He like didn't focus on the experience. He focused that he got away, and he now is going to, experience something new.
Wow.
So like I tell patients when they get diagnosed with cancer, please do not focus on your diagnosis. Do not own your diagnosis. This is a lesson here. This is a teaching episode. This is God's way of saying, look, you need to look at your life, stop, look, and listen, and we're going to unravel this. And I'm going to learn everything I need to learn, and then I can be a blessing to someone else.
Love it. I'm actually reading the book by Napoleon Hill, Think and Grow Rich. And
Yes.
He has a quote that says, affliction is not a liability, but an asset of great value.
Yeah.
And I said this to my husband. He goes, well, you're going to have to bring this to layman terms, and maybe we can talk about that later. But we're going to continue our conversation to look at what is going on in your body as a secondary thing, as a symptom, as a secondary thing. Look at what you want to create, and you will create it. We're going to continue our conversation with Dr. Leigh Erin Connealy when we return worldwide at whenyounneedafriend.com. We'll be right here waiting for you. I read this quote this morning.
Oh, I love it. I love it.
Yeah, by Napoleon Hill. Have you ever read the book?
Oh, I know exactly.
Yeah.
Famous.
Yeah. So
Right here, waiting for.
I love that. You got the power. For some reason, that's happening. Okay.
When you need a friend.
You can text Lillian McDermott or leave her a voicemail at 407-373-5959. Once again, here's Lillian.
Welcome back to the Lillian Radio Show, where we always learn with one another. Today's teacher is Dr. Leigh Erin Connealy, and you can find her at ConnealyMD.com. For those of you who are just joining me for the first time, I want you to know that this has been a journey of mine as well, where I've gone from feeling a victim of my DNA to feeling that I can turn off or turn on my DNA. I feel empowered because of the choices I'm making in my life. And I want to encourage you to find that truth of responsibility that lies within you, that perhaps we've ignored, that perhaps someone told you that you were a victim of your DNA or a victim of whatever has happened to you. Instead of focusing on what's happened or what the symptoms are, this is a place where you could focus on what you want. And we work together at achieving it, because thought without action is just a dream. It's just a thought. But we got to take that action in our lives to achieve what we want. And so if you are wanting to learn more about this new truth, please go to whenyouneedafriend.com, become a subscriber, and make sure that while you're there, you check out my sponsors, because of them, this show continues on. And I want to encourage you to figure out different ways that you can support my sponsors the way they are supporting the show. Without them, we wouldn't have this information. And this is information that you don't hear in mainstream media. So it's really important that we work together, we stick together to make this continue to get larger and grow bigger. And so go to whenyouneedafriend.com, subscribe to my YouTube video, like me on my social media, reach out to me at 407-373-5959 if you have a question for the doctor, if you have any question for me. Always, you can email me at lily@whenyouneedafriend.com. When you become a subscriber, by the way, the show comes to you on your tablet or phone. So Dr. Connealy, I am so grateful to you for taking time out of your busy day to share the work you are doing with your patients. So as you look back at the 42,000 patients, and by the way, if you're 60, you don't look it. And and I was saying this yesterday, that when you go to a doctor, you go to a doctor that models what you want. Because many doctors are sick and dying. Many doctors are overweight. And so if you're going to a doctor that can't heal themselves, how are they going to help your body heal? So I want to say that you are someone that I would want to go to, because I see that you practice what you preach.
That is correct. You need to be a living sermon. And how would I be able to teach a patient if I am not practicing my own self-mastery on all levels? It's impossible.
Yes, yes. So in this 42,000, I love that number, 42,000 patients that you've looked like, that when you started counting, not the ones before that.
Yeah.
When you started counting. Can you share some highlights of people that were focused on the disease, that shifted with a lifestyle change, a mind, body, spirit approach, how they converted their life from perhaps maybe a life of disease to a life of empowerment?
Right. Well, it's interesting. Every Wednesday we have our team. So we have a large team of doctors, and we have a nutritionist, and we have people who do the emotional work and other technicians. And we have a meeting every Wednesday. And we always talk about the people who succeed and do well. And hands down, the people who do very well are the people who have the absence of fear. And they are happy. I'm happy. I'm thankful. I am going to make every day great. They always want to encourage and empower other people. The people who kind of isolate themselves, people who do not do the emotional work that they need to do, they're fearful, they're angry, they hold on to all kinds of negative feelings and do not do the emotional work. Those are the patients that don't do well. I know this is a generalization, but this is what we overall see day in and day out. that happy patients make happy bodies. It's interesting. I have a patient, and the girls all know the patient. She came to me with breast cancer in both breasts. She's probably 55 years old. She's a truck driver, and she is cute as can be, meaning it's her personality. You don't even see her face because she's just a bright light.
Yeah.
And of course, when she first saw me, she was very disturbed about breast cancer, but she was at Cedars-Sinai and all of these other places in Los Angeles. And I forget how she found me, but she just like, you know what? I just need to look at another way, because they said, okay, you're going to need to do surgery and chemo and radiation. And that just sounded drastic to her.
Yeah.
So she came to see me, and I said, okay, well, first of all, we need to get you healthy. She was overweight. She was just not healthy in all ways. Okay. So I said, we're going to get healthy. I said, nobody can endure surgery, chemo, and radiation if that's your option, because I don't really tell people what to do. I educate people on all their options, because patients need to make the ultimate decision. Because I tell people, if you go to 10 doctors, they have 10 different opinions, and you've got to do what resonates with you. And sure. I said, and the ultimate counselor is our creator. And so you need to go and pray about it and see what is, or talk to the universe, whatever your preference is, and say, look, direct my path. What is the best treatment option? So anyway, I said, okay, we're going to draw all your blood, and we're going to check all your nutritional testing. And we're going to, the first two things I have every single patient do, Lillian, is I have them meet with the nutritionist, because we all need to understand the science of food and how it nourishes, strengthens, and heals our body.
Yes.
We've all broken the rules for many years. There's people still breaking the rules every single day, and they expect a different result. We have to follow the rules. We can't eat at McDonald's every day. Yes, you can get away with it sometimes, but eventually it catches up, or you don't feel good and you feel tired because you just ate poison food. Okay.
Yeah.
So, and I know people do it all the time, but fortunately in this day and time, there's an availability of healthy fast food. So there are options more than ever. Then, so I tell people, and a lot of people will say, oh, I already eat right and everything. And I said, well, let's make sure, because the science of food is growing every day, and the creation of new things is growing every day. Then the second thing that I have people do at this very close is to have an emotional attunement, an emotional inventory. Because if they are in prison, if they are emotionally challenged and compromised, we can't move forward. Whether it's surgery, chemo, radiation, or anything that I may have them do, we need to block all the barriers. We need to just really say, look, you know what? I'm here. I'm going to submit to a plan, and I am determined to turn this around and turn the doctor within to heal myself. And so many people, almost every patient does the emotional work, and it's very inexpensive. I tell people, things don't always have to cost money. And I work with people who don't have a lot of money. I go, okay, well, look, these are the things that you need to do. Okay. And fasting can be a great program for people without money. And but if your body follows your thought, you become what you think about most of the time. And we now know with imaging, with phenomenal imaging, that a brain full of harmony and love and happiness is very different than a brain with fear or anger. So we all need to program our brain. We need to set our mind. I always tell people, we have to set our mind. Like if you get up every morning at 6 a.m. to go work out 3 days a week, the day before you need to say, okay, I'm waking up. I'm not going to push the alarm clock. I'm laying my clothes out. Yep. I'm going hell or high water. I'm going. If you do that, your follow through is so much better. But if you think, oh, I'm just going to kind of wing it and whatever, no, you set your mind. You've set your mind, and your body will follow.
I love it. I love
It's
it.
very simple steps, but it's practice. If you practice anger, if you practice anxiety, if you practice complaining, that's what you get.
That's right. You get out of life what you put into life. And if it's so funny, when people want to complain, you hear about them. But when somebody is like really excited about what they're seeing, or they're happy that you're doing something, they don't respond as quickly as if they're angry and they want to complain about something. We need to change that shift. We need to shift that, the way that we function and how we respond to people. I wanted to ask, because this is something that I started doing after I started working on myself, personal growth, which is I created a mantra. And my mantra is, I am a creative, loving, trusting, intuitive leader. But then I also have another one that says, I am healthy, I am wealthy, I am wise, I am love. Whenever that fear comes along, I know that it's time for my mantra to kick in. And I want to encourage all of you to create your mantra that is empowering. And we're going to continue our conversation with Dr. Leigh Erin Connealy when we return worldwide at whenyounneedafriend.com. We'll be right here waiting for you. So, Dr. Connealy, what's your mantra?
Well, what I do is daily, I thank God for that it's going to be the best day ever, no matter how I feel. I thank that for all the amazing balance in my body. I just, all I do every day, literally every day, whether I'm driving, walking down the hall, like this morning, I left and I go, oh my gosh, I am so thankful for what I know. I am so appreciative of the knowledge of the universe that I get to know that other people don't know. And that's why I'm just dying to share it all the time, Lillian.
You're living to share it. You're not dying to share it. You're living to share it.
Yeah, exactly.
Need a friend. You can count on me. I'll be right here waiting for you.
I'm going to talk about your truck driver.
Or leave her a voicemail at 407-373-5959. Once again, here's Lillian.
And welcome back to the Lillian McDermott Radio Show, where we always learn from one another. And today's teacher is Dr. Leigh Erin Connealy of the Center for New Medicine. And we talk about on the show is a new truth, and she teaches a new medicine. I love it. We're a great combination, the two of us, 1 and 2 punch, right?
Right. Well, it's the new modern way of healthcare, which incorporates like what you do, what a nutritionist does, what the doctor does, maybe what an exercise coach does, maybe an educational program on YouTube, because maybe someone can't afford. They can learn EFT you can learn so many things on YouTube. But it's educating people on all the magic and the mystery that's out there in the world to help us, that we have available today. We didn't have all this available 20, 30 years ago. So patients have no reason to complain, because it is the unlimited power and potential of the universe is available to all of us.
I know, and we only focus, many people, they say they're realist, and I'll put quote bunny ears up. They say that I'm realist, so I'm going to go down the path of what could go wrong.
Mm-hmm.
But what does a realist have to go down the path that goes wrong? I think let's be an equal opportunity realist and look at what could go right. Many of us stop at that. So I am curious, and I've been at the edge of my seat. I want to know what happened to your patient who is a truck driver.
Right. Okay. So anyway, she came in to see me. We did all the blood work. And of course, we talked about her stress. Well, what was her stress? Her stress, she was in the middle of a divorce. She has 3 grown children, middle of the divorce. The husband was basically a very, very controlling, domineering force. They were going through a divorce. And I said, well, let me tell you something right now. You're going to have to put that on hold. You're going to have to ask your former husband that you need to focus on healing. So she went and did that. It's interesting because I have fascinating story about this. So she said she agreed, the courts agreed that she has breast cancer. Well, anyway, she ended up with breast cancer in both breasts.
Which is betrayal,
Yeah,
right?
well, it's unrest in your nest.
Yeah.
Unrest in your nest, big time.
Okay.
So anyway, so she started doing all of the eating, the detox, the nutrients, everything we had doing. Very, very compliant patient, which you just have to say, you know what, I'm going to do it. I tell people, you have nothing to lose. There is no downside. There are no side effects to anything that I tell you to do. If there is, I always notify patients what the potential downside is.
Yeah.
But anyway, so she decided, I told her there's a new procedure called cryotherapy. Cryo is freezing of tissues. And I said, so instead of surgery, you might want to consider this. So I'd like you to consult with the surgeon who specializes in cryotherapy. Well, she went to her appointment to have the procedure done after she had done the consult and so forth. And they said, oh, well, on the right breast, it's way smaller than the left breast. Well, when she went to do her consult, on the right breast, it was completely gone. The doctor could not find anything. Then the left breast was a 10 centimeter, which was about the size of a grapefruit, lesion. So the doctor froze it one time, and then we repeated the MRI and ultrasounds, because I always kind of double, triple check myself. And the doctor at the radiologist at Cedars-Sinai says, like, who's your doctor? What did you do? And so he says, oh, no, you got to meet my doctor, da-da-da-da-da. Anyway, so she now, because I tell people cancer is a 10-year process. I said the tumor's just the top of the iceberg. Now we have to deal with the bottom of the iceberg, which is maybe weight loss, correcting all your hormonal deficiencies, correcting your emotional conflicts. Maybe it's the circulating tumor cells, which are responsible for 95% of metastasis. And then I do bioenergetic testing to figure out if there's any blockages of any organ or gland that we need to correct. Are there too many toxins? Do you have candida? Do you have parasites? Do you have an infection? Do you have all these other things? And the bottom of the iceberg is way larger, but it's the invisible part of the body that our conventional paradigm right now does not address.
You're right.
People think you have normal blood tests. People think normal blood tests means you don't have cancer. I have people with stage 4 cancer and have completely normal blood tests. So don't think you go to the doctor and he gives you with a blood test, and very few doctors check the nutritional status of somebody. And so this is a process. Do not think you're going to go get surgery, chemo, and radiation, and voila, you're cured. Never think that. There is no way in 10 years you can get rid of it in 6 months with surgery, chemo, and radiation. Impossible. Because if the doctor, the World Health Organization publishes that the cause of cancer is lifestyle and diet. So what doctor addresses lifestyle and diet with the patient? What doctor? I don't know very many doctors that do. Yes, there are. Yes, there are practitioners that do. But for the most part, he's interested in killing the cancer. But we don't want to kill the patient through the process on an immunological, endocrinological, emotional, physical level.
Yes, yes. And that's why I am so passionate about this. I started the McDermott Holistic Healing Foundation because I want people to understand that there are other options, because and this is a statistic I heard, and I don't know who I heard it from, but in other words, I have not read it. I've heard it from a credible source. So this is what they said, that you will have cancer 7 to 8 times in your lifetime, but until your body will correct itself naturally.
That's correct.
If you're doing the right things, if you're giving it the right fuel, if you're living the positive thoughts and you're doing all that, cancer will go away. It'll go into balance. But that the moment that it's captured and doctor says, well, you've got stage 3, stage 1, stage whatever, let's do chemotherapy. It's until that moment that we intervene with those techniques that we cause the cancer to just really, because we're focusing on the cancer, we grow more cancer.
That is correct. Whatever you put your energy into, it manifests itself. So
Yes.
we have to put our energy, and let's not just talk about cancer. We can talk about any disease process or any stressful situation. If we think that things are not going to succeed, they won't succeed because we're putting that energy out there to the universe. And Nikola Tesla, everybody knows who Nikola Tesla is.
Yes.
He says it's all about the energy of the person. That things are not just what you see physically. It's the energy of the person is what resonates out to the planet, because we're all inextricably connected, whether we like it or not. That's why when we listen to the news, and unfortunately news is always negative, we need to say, okay, we need peaceful, harmonious, loving intervention all the time.
That's a very powerful thoughts. And again, the news is the perfect example of how we're drawn to the negative aspect of life. If it bleeds, it leads. And we want shows like this to be out in the surface, doctors like you to be highlighted in the media, but they're not, because, you know, what's going to happen to the cancer industry? You know?
Well, exactly. Well, as you know, the pharmaceuticals rule all the TV stations, unfortunately.
Yeah.
And we now know that the third leading cause of death in this country is the properly prescribed use of medicines and procedures.
Sad.
Johns Hopkins published a study. The other top two causes are heart disease and cancer. And we know how to prevent both of them, but nobody wants you to know that you can prevent these diseases. The medicine for our illnesses is prevention.
I love it. And that's priceless, as you say. Prevention is priceless. Dr. Leigh Erin Connealy, I love having you on the show. I'm so grateful for you and the work that you're doing in the world to make it a brighter place. Thank you very much.
My privilege, Lillian.
And to you, the book that Dr. Connealy has authored, the latest one, is the Cancer Revolution, a groundbreaking program to reverse and prevent cancer. And you can also find her at ConnealyMD.com. And remember, it's up to you. It's up to you. Make the choices that will bring that happiness to your life. Go run down the street, say, I'm happy, I'm happy, I'm happy. And remember, I'll be right here waiting for you worldwide at whenyouneedafriend.com. This is Lillian McDermott wishing you love, peace, joy, and unexpected abundance. Make it the best day ever. Great job. Thank you so much, Dr. C.
You're welcome,
I am
Lillian.
so grateful to you, and I thank you, my viewers, for watching today. I'm looking forward to our next conversation. You have a beautiful day, Dr. C.
Thank you. You too, Lillian.